Okay, I guess we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Orv Jordahl. I'm your humble presenter for today. Title of this session is Securing Our Information, especially with respect to data security and password management. Just by way of introduction here, how many of you have online accounts? Raise your hands. How many of you have more than 50? How many of you have more than 100? And I won't go beyond that. The average across the nation is, on average, people have 150 online accounts. And guess how many passwords they use for those? A dozen. They use it, on average, they use a dozen accounts for all 150 online accounts. And so if there's a data breach on one of those websites, can you read Equifax? Or can you say Equifax, I should say? And if you use the same logon name, email address, and password on Equifax as you use on your Amazon account or your Newegg account or you name it account, suddenly the hackers and crackers have access to all the other accounts that you have access to and can start weaseling their way into your personal identity. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, all that kind of stuff. How do you protect yourself from that? The form of my presentation is actually just a stream of videos. I figured, why should I reconstruct videos that are already done better than I could do myself that are available online? So I have stitched those together, interspersed some slides that I'll be talking to as we go. The presentation takes about 50 minutes, give or take. And then we'll take a break and we'll do a full hour or however long you want of questions and answers. It's kind of an open forum. So without further ado, let's get going here. Our agenda today is pretty long. This agenda just basically mirrors the session notes that you have. First thing I'd like to comment on is your home Wi-Fi router. More than likely, you all have to have one, because in this day and age, you cannot reliably connect your PC, or I hope you don't connect your PC directly to the internet. That's disastrous. That just puts your PC at risk of every hacker and cracker out there trying to break into your PC or your MacBook or name it device or devices. And if you have a cable modem or a cable connection or DSL connection, you will have one of these. The question is, when it was set up, when it was installed originally, did they change the default manufacturer provided username and password? If they didn't, that router can be hacked in a heartbeat. So you want to be sure that your home router has a unique admin password. Quite often the username is admin, but you don't have to keep the default password. You can change it, and it's almost mandatory that you do change it. The other thing to do is to keep the firmware up to date. These routers are not just an electronic circuit board, they're software. And software, by definition, has bugs. And the manufacturers periodically, no matter what manufacturer of your who the manufacturer of your router is, they periodically do updates of that firmware, the internal programming that drives it, because they find security holes. They find ways that hackers and crackers and other miscreants can weasel their way into your router, actually implant code on that router, and make that router a part of a botnet. A botnet is a device that they can control from afar, from Russia, Ukraine, you name it, US, and get millions of these devices compromised, where they can then decide to gang up on Amazon's website or Google's website or one of the main servers of the internet. They can send so much traffic to that one company that'll bring down their website. That's actually happened within the last year. And so how do you make sure that your home router or any of your home devices aren't subject to being compromised and becoming part of a botnet? And that is to update the firmware. So change the password, update the firmware. If you don't know how to do it, ask your 12-year-old grandkid or whoever to come in and help you. The final thing is to make use of Quad 9. We'll be talking about this further in the presentation because it is so important. It's an alternative domain name system server that you use instead of your internet service provider, Charter, TDS, whatever, or even Google servers. We'll have some content about that coming up. But those are the three things. Change the admin password, update the firmware, and at the home router level, change the DNS that it uses. So that way, by changing it at the router level, all your devices on your network, be it your PC, your Mac, your smartphones, internal devices, your refrigerator, toaster, or whatever nowadays with Internet of Things devices, they will all use the Quad 9 DNS.
America for you, and this morning a new warning about our passwords.
Yeah, no matter how good you think yours is, security experts say it probably isn't good enough. In fact, there's a good chance it's already on sale on the internet. NBC's Tom Costello has been looking into what we can all do about this. Tom, we're a little worried here.
Yeah, and for good reason. You know, while preparing this report, we found lists of email addresses and passwords on the internet, including people I know, along with thousands of others. Even more disturbing, software that is readily available online cracked all of my passwords. How many passwords do you try to remember? Email, shopping, banking, Netflix, Amazon, prescriptions, kids' activities? The average person has 150 online accounts of sort, but uses just 12 passwords, reusing the same one at least 10 times. And that is a big cyber no-no.
Your password's actually cracked.
You've got it already?
Today Show 2018, the total time to crack was 165 seconds.
Charles Henderson lives cybersecurity at IBM X-Force Red. To crack my password, he used a kind of program that's easily found on the internet. If you can crack that password that quickly, then criminals can do that.
Exactly.
In fact, look what we found on the internet.
So what we're looking at here is a database of emails and passwords that was leaked on the web.
That's Itai Mayor, former Israeli military technology expert, now at IBM Security. You've got tens of thousands of names right here.
Right, and that's just one database. There's tens of thousands of databases like this that you can look at.
In fact, we found passwords for friends and NBC colleagues. Not surprising, say experts, since there have been so many mega hacks in recent years. Equifax, Yahoo, big retailers, banks and credit card companies, hospitals and insurance companies.
So we have to assume that there's a good chance our information is out there, which is why we have to keep changing our passwords and updating our accounts.
What's the solution? To begin with, my password, Today Show 2018, was weak. Experts now advise using long phrases. I left my heart in San Francisco in 2017. But automated computer programs might even crack that, which is why security pros say we should all use password managers that keep our passwords encrypted. And even multi-step authentication, a code sent via text message to your phone, which you must first unlock with your thumbprint or a facial recognition scan.
I simply line up my face, look around, and the first Face ID scan is complete.
Some banks are already adding biometric screening as an extra layer of security. If it all seems like a hassle, remember those emails and passwords we found on the internet? We also found this: hundreds of thousands of stolen identities for sale on the dark web. I can buy a Delaware driver's license, a Florida license, a UK passport. This is stealing people's identities and really taking over their lives.
Yeah, and the victim for this, he or she are going to spend years recovering from something like this.
Yeah, it really is astonishing to see so many people's identities already stolen and for sale on the web. One more suggestion for you. When websites ask for those security questions like your mother's maiden name, your elementary school, the street you grew up on, experts say lie. Use information from your childhood friend or a cousin. That way, cyber criminals can't find that information on your other social media sites and use it to gain access to your accounts. Guys, back to you.
Never thought of that
Yeah.
with those questions.
It's
too.
true, though. You can kind of throw them off the trail a
Right.
little bit.
Okay, is that scary? It's real. So now we're going to talk about, okay, what do you do about the password problem?
We may think we've got good passwords, but it turns out the average person uses just 12 passwords to access 150 online accounts, and they're usually not very good.
Think more in terms of passphrases. Think of sentences rather than words.
But remembering so many long passphrases is nearly impossible. The answer? Password managers that store and encrypt all of our passwords. You probably already have a basic password manager built into your operating system or your internet browser. But experts recommend downloading an upgrade. Among the most popular, LastPass, 1Password, and Dashlane. They're often free or just a few bucks a month and easy to use. The password manager remembers all of your passwords from shopping to banking, email. It creates much stronger randomly generated passwords, then encrypts them, stores them, and autofills the login for every site you visit.
The only thing you need to remember is what's called your master password, the thing that encrypts all of your data on your computer and on your phone.
It works on your computer and your mobile devices and starts up as soon as you log in. How do you protect your password manager? Multi-step authentication using a thumbprint or facial recognition, all to keep cyber crooks at bay. Tom Costello, NBC News, Boston.
So that brings us to the topic of password managers. How many of you ever have even heard the term? Oh, quite a number of you have. Great. There's probably about a dozen different password managers on the market these days. Some are free, some are quite pricey. Turns out the market leader by a wide margin is an application called LastPass. It's very popular and it's very good. I follow a number of security researchers who in podcasts and so forth talk about password managers. And they'll go through all the pluses and minuses of each one. And then when they come down to it, the question the moderator usually asks, okay, so what password manager do you use? Almost without exception, it's LastPass. Simply because it's that good. It works on all platforms, Windows, Macs, iOS phones, Android phones, you name it. So it covers the spectrum, and it's usually installed as a web browser extension. So I'm going to spend some time here going through LastPass in detail so that when you leave here, you have a good idea what it takes to set up LastPass. If you select Dashlane or 1Password, the steps may be on the screen different, but the concepts are almost identical. So it's not that if you select a different password manager, it's not worth going through this. Just to become acquainted with the features and functions of a password manager is the important takeaway here. All right, so here we go.
Hello, and welcome to LastPass 101. So what is LastPass? We serve as a Rolodex of your passwords. So as you go throughout your day on the internet, we're just there in the background filling in your usernames and passwords for you. A primary benefit of this is that you can stop reusing passwords. So when your site gets compromised and they obtain a password with your date of birth and the name of your firstborn child, they're not able to access multiple sites with the same username and password. What LastPass can do for you is generate and remember long, extremely complex passwords that are great at keeping you secure online. We encrypt all of your data locally, which means that your master password and your data is yours and yours only, and at no point are we able to see into this data. It is important to remember only one password moving forward, your master password. So what are the values of LastPass? First, it's simple. No more writing down passwords on sticky notes or within spreadsheets. It's secure, LastPass protects your data at every step and allows you to generate passwords that are incredibly hard to crack. So if someone was able to get a hold of your vault, if you got a virus on your machine, for example, they would just get a blob of encrypted data with military and bank level encryption that would take them years to determine what they actually obtained. Also, it's convenient. You go on about your day and we exist in the background, helping you along the way.
Getting started with LastPass only takes a few moments. First, head to LastPass.com and click Get LastPass Free to start the download that's recommended for your browser and computer. Follow the prompts to add LastPass to your browser. Now you'll see the LastPass extension icon in your browser's toolbar, and you'll be prompted to create your account if you don't yet have one. Just enter your email address and click Create Account. Now you'll create your master password. Make it a good one because it will protect your LastPass account, and this is the last password you have to remember. A password hint is optional, but may help you if you ever forget your master password. Your account is now created. Anytime you need to log into LastPass, whether on this computer or another device, you'll use the same email address and master password to log in. From there, LastPass will help you add your web accounts, import data from your browser or other password manager, or take you straight to your vault.
You'll add the browser extension to assist you in capturing your credentials, accessing your vault, and generally helping you throughout your day. Look for the infield icon. As you browse, LastPass knows when to help you and gives you quick access to your passwords directly on the web page. LastPass has a mobile app. Sync to multiple devices so you're able to have it wherever you need it. Multiple browsers, phones, tablets, etc. You can put your passwords on autopilot, auto-save, and autofill as you log into websites. LastPass will offer to remember the credentials for you. Select yes, and when you return the next time, it'll autofill these saved credentials for you, and you just need to select Sign In. You can also generate stronger passwords. As you create an account for a site, you can generate a complex password the first time. When you're creating a new account, there will be a password generator icon. Selecting that, you can generate a completely unique password that you'll never need to remember. You can fill any form using LastPass. All your personal data you would normally fill into a site. As you create accounts or make purchases, it'll fill in the available information for you, including credit card information, which is much more secure than storing the credit card information on the site itself. You can store any item or any document using secure notes. It's a note that you can use to save information that you would like secured, such as social security number, Wi-Fi passwords, insurance information, or just general notes. Take the security challenge. It's a quick and easy way to audit your passwords for weak, duplicate, old, and potentially breached passwords so you can see how secure your online footprint is. Using the shared folders functionality, you can share passwords with others. For example, the social media team within your company. There are multiple accounts and several people should have the ability to access them. You can securely share those credentials with the team, allowing the password itself to be complex and it's contained within the vault securely. Next, we'll transition to a live. Okay, great. Now I'm inside of my vault. We do not suggest using the importer option. Instead, we recommend that you build your vault as you log into sites naturally. It could pull old or random passwords saved in your computer, such as the Wi-Fi password from a hotel you stayed at years ago. So first, let's add a site manually. I'm going to select this Add Site icon in the bottom right corner. I'm going to enter in the URL, name the site. I can designate which folder I'd like for it to go into. And then I'm going to enter in my username and password. You can also add any additional notes, such as a security question or any additional items that you feel would be pertinent saved in this site. Under Advanced Options, you can require password reprompt at login, you can auto login, or you can disable the autofill functionality. Now by selecting Save, that Amazon site is now saved directly into my vault. Let's look at adding a site naturally. I'm going to go to Evernote and log into my existing account. And now LastPass has prompted for me to add this site to my vault. I'm going to select Add, but you can also select this Edit icon that'll allow you to update the folder it goes into, or select that you never want this site to be saved. And once I select Add, it'll be added to my vault. And here we find our Evernote site. Okay, so from here, let's talk about secure notes. So the secure notes are an area where you can save information outside of a website. So there is a generic template that is free text. There are also a variety of other templates that you can utilize if there are specific things you want to save. So here I'm able to add free text that I could access whenever I need. There's also some advanced settings where I can require password reprompt to view this note, and I can also add an attachment. So now this note is added to my secure notes area for me to view later. Form fills are a great way to make your life easier while you're navigating the web. So I'm going to create a simple form fill. So you name the form fill. There are different types available, and then you fill in whatever information you would like. Okay, and let's save this information. And now let's go and use it. So I'm going to go to Dropbox and create an account. So if I am signing up for this website, this icon in the first name field is letting me know that there is form fill information that matches. So when I select this icon, this is what I named the form fill moments ago. And I select this, and it autofills my first name, last name, and my email address. This icon in the password field with the arrow around the lock is the password generator. So by selecting this, I'm able to generate a password. So I can select generate or fill, or if I select more options, I can change the length of the password, decide if I want it to be easy to say, easy to read, or what different combination of characters I'd like to be included in the password. Once you have a desired password, select copy for good measure and then select fill, and it autofills the password. I'm going to agree to the terms and create my account. LastPass also picks up this information and adds it to my vault. So now that I've created that account and selected add, if I go back to my sites, now that Dropbox is in my account, and I can open it up and see the password that I generated, and my email address is in there, as well as the folder that it was designated to. Moving along to the Sharing Center, this is where you can share useful information with your colleagues. So first you need to create a shared folder. We're going to name the folder. Anything that is a shared folder will have the word shared at the beginning of the folder. So now that we have this folder, we need to put sites into the folder to be shared out amongst the organization. If I go back to my sites, now this folder is visible in my sites vault. And I'm going to move the Dropbox site that we just created into this folder. This can be done two ways. The first, I check this box, and under Actions, I can tell it to be moved to the Shared Social Media Login folder. Alternatively, I can select it and drag it. Select Yes, and now Dropbox is included in this Social Media Login folder. To share it, I'm going to navigate it back to the Sharing Center, and I'm going to select Manage. This is where I can invite different users or groups to the folder. So search for who you'd like to share it with, and then select that person's email address and designate the permissions. So I can decide whether I'd like for them to be able to use the site and the credentials without seeing the password, or they can have full access. And I'm going to select Save. So when there are multiple sites in the shared folder, another item you can do is you can manage what a user can see within that folder. So if I select the wrench next to the user, perhaps I do not want this user to have access to the Evernote site. If I move this to the unavailable column, now this user will only see Dropbox in that shared folder. They will not see this Evernote site in the shared folder. However, it is in that shared folder. So anyone else that has access to this folder that hasn't been updated, they will see both items. Let's take a look at the security challenge. So the security challenge is a great way to determine how secure your credentials are on the web. So by selecting Show My Score, I will have to enter in my master password again. And it's going to look at any usernames that are associated in the vault. Select Continue, and this pop-up is letting me know that they didn't find my usernames to be found in any security breaches. So my overall score is 73%, and my master password score is 100%. So these are particularly high. There's also not a lot of information in my vault. The great things you can do is take a look at change compromised passwords. So if you had any passwords that have been deemed as compromised, it'll prompt you to update those passwords. And this is also true for passwords that are considered weak or reused passwords. Under More Options, if you accidentally deleted an item that you wanted to undelete, you would come into the Deleted Items area under More Options, and you can restore any deleted items. Additionally, under the More Options, there is a help section with our Help Center, user manuals, and tutorials for you to view if you're interested. Lastly, let's look at the browser extension. In whatever browser you are using, there will be a red square that is your LastPass browser extension. If you see it as gray, that means you are not logged in. But under the LastPass extension, you have quick links to your vault, your sites that you can search within, as well as your notes and form fills. You can generate your passwords and tutorials and advanced settings. Thank you for watching our LastPass training today, and we hope you enjoy LastPass.
Okay, I hope you didn't fall asleep in the tutorial, but hopefully it gave you a good idea of how LastPass actually works. I can demonstrate it in the Q&A section if you'd like to see it in action live. But I did want to take a moment to talk about, there's several versions of LastPass you can get. The starter one is free, and it contains most of the functionality you saw in the tutorial, with the exception of sharing and contingency planning, that sort of thing. LastPass Premium lets you share your passwords with other people and also gives you access to LastPass for applications. So if you have a smartphone, Android or iPhone, you can install LastPass on that, and it will provide the login credentials to apps you might have on your phone. For example, the UW Health MyChart app works great with LastPass. If any of you that have that know that every time you go into the MyChart app, it wants you to log in with your login credentials, right? LastPass takes care of that. It's beautiful. LastPass for families is really good if you have a family situation where, especially if you want to share accounts for some reason or other. For $4 a month, you get 6 LastPass licenses, and you can have unlimited sharing of credentials within that family. So it's a really good deal. So for the cost of a cup of coffee or two per month, you can have full access to LastPass. It's really a great value. In fact, I make use of the LastPass Premium. I haven't gone to LastPass Families yet, but you notice this item here, digital contingency plan. It works as follows. You set up your account to have, in case of death or in case of disaster condition, you can set a time expiration, 48 hours, 72 hours, and you designate one or more people that you would like to share your LastPass account with. And let's say you're in a traffic accident and you're in a coma in the hospital or whatever, and you have a family member, your spouse, son, a daughter, friend, relative, whatever, that you have beforehand set up a sharing agreement. That person or persons can go in and request access to your LastPass account. And LastPass will then wait the amount of time that you've specified, 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever you set, it'll wait that period of time. And during that period of time, if you're not laid up, if the attempt is fraudulent, you can decline that request. So you're in control. But if after the 48 or 72 hours or whatever time you've set, that you have not actively rejected that request, LastPass will give that requestor access to your account passwords and everything that's in your LastPass vault. In other UW Retirement Association seminars from the financial team, we've heard about the living ledger, about collecting information about your life in one place so that your personal representative upon your death or upon your incapacitation or whatever the case may be can go in and clean up after you. They don't have to go searching through 11 file drawers to find what they need to do in order to take care of your personal affairs. The LastPass Vault is a perfect place to do that. You put your living ledger in there, you have all your accounts in there, it's all gathered together in a nice, neat, encrypted, with military-grade encryption vault. And so it not only benefits you as the owner of that account in being able to manage your passwords and do it very well, it also makes it possible for your family to clean up things when you're no longer able to function yourself. So that alone is worth the $2 a month. So. Okay, now we're going to transition to a thing called the domain name system.
Ever wondered how the internet works? When you type a website address into your browser, what actually happens? Well, it's complicated. Every website is just a set of files that is hosted on a server located somewhere in the world. Every host server is identified by a unique numerical IP address, like a street address you can visit. These IP addresses are long, and no one can remember them. So, we use simple, memorable names to stand in for the long, complicated numbers. For this to work, another service called Domain Name Service, or DNS, works behind the scenes to translate the names back into numerical IP addresses. DNS allows your computer to reach the correct destination. But what if a name is spoofed? What if the website address actually leads to a site that is infected with malware? You may not know it until it's too late. Fortunately, there's a way to stay safe. Quad9 is a free security solution that uses DNS to protect your systems against the most common cyber threats. It improves your system's performance, plus it preserves and protects your privacy. It's like an immunization for your computer. Here's how it works. In your computer's settings, change your DNS record to 9.9.9.9. Then, when you query a website, your request is routed through the Quad9 DNS instead of your internet provider's default DNS. Quad9 servers are infused with real-time threat intelligence from leading cybersecurity organizations. If the Quad9 DNS server detects malware or other threats at the domain you've entered, it will prevent you from accessing the infected site. Unlike some other DNS services, Quad9 does not gather or store any personally identifiable information. Plus, Quad9 DNS automatically routes your queries to one of our dozens of nearby data centers, so you'll be able to browse with greater speed and stability than ever before. You can set up Quad9 on your Mac or PC in 4 simple steps. Find instructions at quad9.net. Why take a risk? There's a safer way to search. Set up Quad9 today.
Quad9 is a free security solution that uses DNS to protect your systems against the most common cyber threats. You can set up Quad9 on your PC in 4 easy steps. Step 1. Open Control Panel. Select Network and Internet, and then select Network and Sharing Center. Click Change Adapter Settings on the left pane. Step 2. Right-click the network interface connected to the Internet and select Properties. Select Internet Protocol version 4 from the list and click Properties. Step 3. Select Use the following DNS server addresses and type 9.9.9.9 into the preferred DNS server box. Step 4. Click OK, then close to save your settings. That's it. Quad9. 4 steps in under 4 minutes to better security and privacy. Set up Quad9 today.
Okay. Some of you may wonder, what does DNS have to do with security? You saw in the video how the Quad9 service, which is hosted by IBM and Global Cyber Alliance and Packet Clearinghouse and some others, work in collaboration in a nonprofit free alliance to identify internet threats, websites and other sites on the internet that are hosting and spreading malware, viruses, trojans, fake ads, you name it. And if you or your device, your smartphone or laptop or PC, whatever, tries to go to the address of one of those malware hosting sites, a normal DNS server like your ISP, Internet Service Provider, will provide that address to you and let you have at it. and then you're at the mercy of your internal anti-malware software to block that. With Quad 9, if it's a malware hosting site, they won't return that address to you. They'll give you the address of a site that'll explain why it's not letting you through to it. So it literally has your back. If you try to go to a site that's got malware, it'll block you and tell you why. That's what makes it better than all the other DNS service providers on the internet right now. Okay, now we're going to talk about a subject near and dear to everybody's heart, public Wi-Fi. Oh. Go to a hotel or something and you want to connect to it so you don't burn up your cellular data minutes. So here's a little video about that.
Turns out hackers have new ways to steal your information.
Oh, today, national investigative correspondent Jeff Rawson is here to show us all this. Hey, Jeff.
More good news. Look, we all do it, right? You check into your hotel, and the first thing you do is this. You get on the phone, you try to get onto the Wi-Fi, and you look for the Wi-Fi network that most resembles your hotel name. You assume it's safe. Well, hackers are now imitating the Wi-Fi at your hotel to steal your personal data. And guys, they have new tricks to make it even tougher to spot. This morning, don't worry, we're about to show you how they do it and how to protect your privacy.
That's scary.
It seems innocent enough.
That's not good.
Hotel Wi-Fi that looks like the real deal.
It makes me feel violated.
But in reality, it's a trap. Hackers creating free Wi-Fi to mimic your hotel. You log in and they steal all your personal information.
So just how fast can you become a victim? To show you, yeah, we're poolside here at the Grand Fiesta Americana in Cancun, Mexico. And I'm going to do what I always do on vacation, is grab a lounge chair. I've logged into the hotel Wi-Fi. Now I can just chill out and do my thing.
But today, there is a hacker here on the other side of the pool, posing as a tourist. The hotel knows about it, but the guests don't. His name, Jim Stickley, a cybersecurity expert, and luckily one of the good guys.
So we're at the resort right now, and their Wi-Fi access point is Fiesta Rewards. We set up Fiesta Rewards Pool, which basically makes people think, hey, we're at the pool. It must be a stronger signal down here. I'll use that one.
Then something troubling happens. Guests at the hotel start connecting to our fake network, thinking it's the real thing.
You can see right now there's someone named Sharon, there's someone named Cody. They both have iPhones.
And they're on your network thinking it's the official one.
Absolutely.
And you're watching what they do.
We monitor everything they're doing right now.
I'm going to go try to find them.
Good luck.
Is there a Sharon here? You're Sharon?
Yes.
Hi, Jeff Rawson from the Today Show, NBC. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
What Wi-Fi are you on?
I'm on Fiesta Rewards Pool.
Okay, that's the hotel Wi-Fi?
Yes.
What if I told you that's actually not the hotel Wi-Fi? And our security expert can monitor everything you're doing right now on your phone.
It frightens me.
Even down on the beach, people are logging into our fake Wi-Fi.
Cody?
Yeah?
There it is. Fiesta Rewards Pool. That's nuts. You've been on this. I've been watching you on this.
It's pretty unsettling being on vacation, so that's pretty scary.
Guest after guest.
Oh, we just got another one.
Falling for it.
Megan? Is there a Megan here?
Yeah.
You know what's coming next.
Yeah.
But what information can he really get? I tested out.
I'm watching everything he's doing in real time.
Gonna buy some gloves for when I get back home to the cold.
And he just entered in his Visa information. So it's his Visa card numbers. There's the security code. I also have his expiration date on the card, which was.
All right, let me check in for the flight home.
There, he's got a window seat, and it looks like he takes off tomorrow.
And I'm gonna log into my email.
He just logged in. There's his email address, and there's his password.
So how can you protect yourself?
Can I give you a tip?
Yes, give me a tip.
Hop off the public Wi-Fi when you want to go onto your bank website or you want to type in your credit card and buy something, and go onto the 3G or 4G, the cell carrier. It's much more secure. Then you can get back on the public Wi-Fi.
Perfect. I will take that and put it in my head and use it.
But then our hacker went one step further, creating another fake network, this time with the exact same name as the real one. And watch what happens.
Hi.
Hello.
Jeff Rawson from NBC. How are you?
Hi.
Are you Lauren?
I'm Lauren.
Can I see what Wi-Fi you're on right now?
My phone is actually over there.
Can you actually grab your phone for me?
Sure.
She doesn't know it yet, but her phone auto-joined our fake Wi-Fi without her ever touching it. When she gets back, she has a question for me.
How do I fix it?
All right, let me show you. Every hour or two, when you're in a public Wi-Fi situation like this, even at a hotel that you trust, hit this right here. Forget this network and forget it and re-log in again.
And better yet, when you first log into any public network, shut off the auto join function just like that.
Thank you for letting me know.
You got it. Now you can go back to vacation now. Sorry to interrupt.
I appreciate it.
Keeping you protected as you plan your spring break.
Be more careful next time?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
By the way, Savannah, you guys are on your phones trying to
Use an auto join.
get rid of the auto join.
Wow.
Get rid of the auto join. By the way, you guys want another tip? And this one's pretty personal for me. I do it when I travel to hotels. You know, when you check into a hotel, they ask for your last name and room number when you log into the Wi-Fi usually. I always type in Rawson, then the wrong room number on purpose. If it still lets you in, you know it's a fake that's letting anyone in. But if it denies me, then I retype my name in with the right room number.
You are good, Rawson.
I got this. I got you.
We all got to think like Rawson.
Yeah, I know. It's a very dangerous place.
Let's back off a little bit.
Or maybe just jet ski and have a daiquiri and put your phone down when you're on vacation.
Well, there's that too.
That's right.
Okay. Hopefully you found that instructive. I never would have thought about providing the wrong room number just to make sure that that Wi-Fi hotspot you're logging into is legit. So you log in with your last name and some other room number, and if it lets you in, at a minimum, you should call the front desk and ask, hey, what's going on? It let me log in with the wrong room number. But the other thing that was pointed out there was Rawson was using his iPhone, and he connected to that fake Wi-Fi, and the security expert was able to see everything he was doing, meaning that his iPhone was not using the HTTPS protocol, S standing for secure. That means encrypted. So if his iPhone apps had been using the HTTPS protocol like they're supposed to, then the security expert wouldn't have been able to see anything. But it's really interesting. It's shocking to a lot of people that a lot of the apps that they use on their smartphones, on their mobile devices, are still sending the information in clear text so that somebody like Stickley can just watch it on his Wi-Fi monitor. So what's the solution to that? The solution is VPNs.
How a VPN works in 2 minutes. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. It's a way of making your internet connection private. First, let's look at how your internet works today. Every computer on the internet has an IP address, which looks something like this. It's a lot like a phone number or home address. When you use the internet, your computer makes connections to other computers, basically by calling up their IP addresses. To get where it's going, your data has to make a few hops between different servers and routers. These hops are what make the internet work, but they do bring some security risks. Because your data passes through so many different hands, third parties can tap into your network traffic and view unencrypted data as plain text. Even when you use a secure website like a bank, a third party can still easily see what sites you're accessing by looking at IP addresses. A VPN solves these problems by sending all your traffic through a single VPN server and encrypting it. This makes your network communications look like gibberish to an unauthorized viewer. A VPN also stops you from leaving your IP address calling card with every website you visit. This helps protect your anonymity and makes your online activity much less useful to marketers, hackers, and data miners. Many commercial VPNs, like Netscape, offer servers in a number of countries. This lets users access the internet as seen in different parts of the world, sort of like teleporting yourself to a different location for internet access. This is why VPNs are a favorite with travelers and expats. Let's see a VPN in action. Here's Netscape for Mac. Pick a server from the menu, and in a few seconds, you've got a VPN connection. Your IP address has changed, you can access overseas content, and all your communications are encrypted.
Okay, there's a number of VPN providers available. on your smartphones. It's usually an app from the vendor that you choose. On PCs and Macs, it can either be an app that you install or a web browser extension. It varies by vendor. After doing a lot of searching and experimenting and so forth, I find that this private internet access at www.privateinternetaccess.com is about the best value. That address should be on your screen, on your session notes here, so you don't have to write that down. Its cost is $40 a year, which works out to be $3.33 a month. So if you're ever in a public Wi-Fi setting and you don't want to burn up your cellular minutes, or maybe your cellular plan has pretty low speeds and Wi-Fi is faster, you do two things. You connect to that Wi-Fi, and after it's connected, the first thing you do is to establish the VPN connection. And after you do that, that security expert sitting there monitoring everything wouldn't be able to see a thing. It'd be just gibberish that he would see. So that's the way you get away from the man in the middle watching everything you're doing on the internet. Private Internet Access has servers all around the world. So if you wanted to watch soccer from Germany or whatever, and whoever's broadcasting that or hosting it doesn't make it available to US based computers, you can point your VPN service, your VPN app, to a private internet access server over in Germany, and then it makes your device, your laptop, your PC, your smartphone, whatever, appear as if it's based in Germany. And then you can watch that broadcast. It literally transports your computer over to wherever the server for that VPN service is hosted. It works wonderfully. Note that it will slow down your internet speed by 10 or 20%. It varies from service to service, depending on how efficient their protocol is and that sort of thing. But that's a small price to pay for the security you get from doing it. So in this case, I highly recommend on your smartphones, on your iPhones or Android devices, going to okay, I'm sorry, that's my typo. I think either one, I think if you just left it alone, it would automatically go to HTTPS. That's now the Google standard, by the way. If you're in the Chrome web browser, which is by far and away the most popular browser, if you're not using Chrome, you should be. But if you point your web browser, I'm sorry, a different train of thought. If you download the PIA VPN app on your Android phone or on your iPhone, it will install. And when you set up an account on Private Internet Access, they will email you a gibberish username and password. And then you use those credentials that come in an email to you to log in to Private Internet Access. And with that, it's a very simple interface. You just do it, and boom, you're secure. And after that, it remembers your username and password. So all you do is you call up that app and say connect. That's all there is. Very simple. And it can be used on 5 concurrent devices. So if you have your smartphone and your wife has a smartphone, or vice versa, you have it and your husband has it, and you have a couple laptops and so forth, not a problem. Up to 5 devices concurrently. You can have it installed on more than that, but it's 5 concurrent. Okay, moving on.
So you bought your VPN package and you're totally psyched to get started right now. But first, you got to install it on your PC. I know, right?
Don't worry. It'll be really easy and only takes about a minute. To install your VPN package on Windows, open up your web browser and go to privateinternetaccess.com. Click Support and select Client Support. Now, click on the Download Windows VPN button and save the file. When it's finished downloading, click on it to open up your Downloads folder. Right-click on the installer file and choose Run as Administrator. Click Yes to allow the installation. Now, let your computer take care of a few things. Working. Click Install and the installation will begin. And then enter your VPN username and password. These are the ones that were emailed to you. Save and bang! You're ready to go. Congratulations! You did it. That wasn't so bad, was it? Now you're ready to start browsing safely and anonymously.
Okay, so that's VPNs and private internet access. What I'd like to talk to you next about is virtual credit card numbers. How many of you have ever heard that term before? Good. These are services that are provided by B of A, Citibank, and Capital One, and they're a way of getting credit card numbers linked to your main credit card account that are for an individual merchant. And you could have tens or hundreds of these virtual credit card numbers. It's not a problem as far as the banks are concerned. But when you are visiting a site, after you've installed, this comes as a browser extension, and it works in the background. And when you're visiting a website, Amazon, or you pick the merchant, and it sees there's a credit card number field in there, it'll pop up and say, would you like a virtual credit card number for this merchant? And if you say yes, it'll give you a new number, fill it in, and it'll keep that credit card number for that merchant. I have a commercial here that I recorded off from a podcast called Security Now. It's a great podcast, by the way. Look for it sometime if you like. But there's about a 4-minute commercial that does a good job of explaining it. So pardon showing a commercial, but it's worthwhile. So with that, let's launch into it here.
Capital One, Security Now, brought to you by Eno. Eno has a feature that I use all the time. Stop sharing your real credit card number. When you shop online, start using Eno's virtual numbers. Whenever I see a credit card field, I'm in my browser and I'm going to buy something, Eno pops up and says, hi, I would be glad to make a virtual number for this site with the full credit card number, an expiration date that's always, interestingly, 5 years from now, and one of those security numbers, automatically fills it in. Now, that number is now associated with that merchant and that merchant only. That's it. Of course, the merchant gets money from your credit card, your Capital One card, but they don't get your credit card number. They don't get any information about you. Your privacy is protected. You get access to all the wonderful things the internet has to offer without giving up your credit card number when you're online. And there's some real valuable reasons for this. If ever a merchant's compromised, and you hear about this all the time, it just happened with Panera Bread, right? You just delete the virtual number. It's kind of like those application-specific passwords. You can just revoke it. No good, no problem. It can't be used anymore. If your card is lost or stolen, and this is really good, there's that reset moment. We actually talked to the Senior VP of Digital E-Commerce at Capital One, Tom Poole, and I said to him, you know, Tom, one of the reasons I love this is that and people know this who watch the show, I've revealed my credit card number on shows in the past. Like I'm in the middle of paying something and it comes up on the screen, which means I now have a minute to immediately cancel that credit card number. But then I got the pain in the butt for the next few days of figuring out all the different services that credit card number is tied to and giving them a new number. Tom calls it the reset moment.
when we looked at this and realized that the most pressing problems our customers were facing was this giant reset moment, whether the card expires or it's lost or stolen or it's compromised online, this moment when suddenly out of the blue you were being asked to spend a couple hours updating your numbers on every single site. It's terrible, and people live in fear of it, so much so that they actually steer their shopping toward a handful of sites that they trust and avoid trialing new experiences and new products, precisely because they're afraid that it's a game of Russian roulette. If they put their number at one more site, that might be the site that triggers the event that is the real pain in the neck for everybody.
No more reset moment with Capital One's virtual numbers. Even if your main number is lost or stolen, those virtual numbers continue to work as long as you want them to, up to 5 years. That's why they give you a 5-year expiration date. I've used it now for all the online merchants I use. That it has an additional advantage. Each one has a unique number. I just love it. You can shop safer without all the hassle. If you have an existing Capital One credit card, good news. Just download and install the browser extension. It's on the Chrome Web Store. I use Chrome. I'm sure you do. Every time I surf and I need a credit card number, it's there. And sometimes, you get sites for some reason that don't automatically fill in the forms. It's really nice. You can just drag the number and the expiration, everything right off of there. You don't have to copy and paste. Just drag it right off the Eno page right up there in the corner. I love Eno. Eno's got your back. Virtual numbers, Capital One. For more information, go to CapitalOne.com/ENO. That's Eno. It's one backwards. I didn't even know that. Eno is one backward. Capital, CIPITAL. For a long time, I was spelling it with an O. I don't know why. CapitalOne.com/ENO/virtual numbers. CapitalOne.com/ENO/virtual numbers really is the right way to do this. And it's the easiest way to do it because of that Chrome extension. It's a snap. You don't have to do any extra effort. You just get that virtual number. CapitalOne.com/ENO/virtual numbers. We thank them for their support of Security Now and supporting our online security.
Okay, that guy on the TV screen in the background was Steve Gibson. He's an ace security expert. Really makes watching this podcast, it's called Security Now, fun. I mean, he's been around since dirt almost, so he knows, and he's researched all the different security problems around the world, and a great podcast to watch. You do it weekly. It publishes on Tuesday. You can watch it for the rest of the week. But back to the virtual credit card numbers. Everybody see how it works? It's really a good thing to do it these days. So if a website gets hacked, Target loses their credit card database. All you need to do is delete that one virtual number. You don't have to cancel your main credit card number and then go start trying to figure out all the places you might have used that credit card number where it's stored in on that merchant's website. I recently heard of a casino, I think it was out in Las Vegas, that installed a web-connected digital fish tank thermometer. And they just connected it to their network, and hackers hacked into that digital thermometer, used that to worm their way into the casino's servers, exfiltrated 10 gigabytes of data from the casino's servers, 10 gigs, through a thermometer. So that's the level of hacking that's going on these days. Sounds fishy. That's right. Okay, but that's a documented hack. So, okay, onward. So now our next topic is app data and security. App, as you may know, it stands for application. That is a program. On a smartphone, you typically download apps from the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store and installed on your smartphone. And we've had the Facebook hack recently. And whenever you install these apps, you know that you have to agree to their terms of service. How many of you ever read those terms of service? None, right? Because they're tens of pages long. So let's take a look at what, this is another Jeff Rawson report.
About what private information that you're sharing when you download those apps on your phone. You may not be aware.
That's right. Today, National Investigative Correspondent Jeff Rawson is here to show us. Hi, Jeff. Good morning.
Hey, guys. Good morning to you. Strap in. Here we go. When we download these apps, how many of us actually read the privacy policy before we click accept? Show of hands over there.
Nobody.
Yeah, no hands at all. Either do I. Don't blame you. Turns out we're giving away our most personal information. And don't worry, this morning we are reading the fine print for you. And get your phones out, because in just a moment, we're actually going to show you how to find out everything Facebook knows about you, and how to delete it.
We're all guilty of it, downloading apps, granting them permission to snoop on us, no questions asked. But what personal information are they really collecting?
Come on inside my office here. I have my team gathered. This is Olivia, and that's Jamie over there. We all have our phones out, and we're downloading popular apps. But we've gone a step further. We have gone online and downloaded the privacy statements, the privacy policies, the terms of service. It's pretty thick. The stuff you don't read, let's be honest, from all these different apps. So I downloaded the Netflix app because I love Netflix. But here, inside the privacy statement is this. This is the information we provide to them. Name, email address, payment method, telephone number. Now, here's the information they collect automatically. This is according to Netflix. Information regarding your computer or other device used to access our service, the time and reason you contact them, transcripts of any chat conversations, your IP address, which gives them locations just from going on Netflix.
But most disturbing of all, this, buried deep in the Netflix security section. Unfortunately, no measures can be guaranteed to provide 100% security. We cannot guarantee the security of your information. Now it's Olivia's turn.
You're downloading a game.
Yes, I just downloaded Candy Crush. We have to go through 34 pages of consumer terms to find out what they're collecting about us. That's 34.
For a game?
For a game. And you have to go to page 22 to even find out what they're getting from you.
What are they getting?
So they're getting your type of device you're using, how you play the game, other games and apps on your phone. So the other things on my phone.
So not just Candy Crush, now they know the other games and apps. Okay.
And then if I keep going and I'm using it through Facebook or something like that, they then know the attributes about myself, my interest, my general location, and all I want to do is crush some candy.
But this next app surprised us the most. Starbucks.
14 pages of Starbucks privacy statement. According to their terms, they access information directly from your device, such as information in your contacts. They're getting my contact information potentially.
Inside your phone,
yes,
your contacts
they
list.
can get my contacts list.
Okay.
The other thing is web pages that I'm looking at, just from my Starbucks app. My GPS information.
And it's not just information about you. Starbucks says if you send a friend a gift card, it can collect info about your friend too.
It's buyer beware with an app, any app. It's going to try to get as much information out of you as possible, and it's up to you to try to minimize that amount of data.
Many apps say they collect this information to personalize customer service. Starbucks telling NBC News overnight they often evaluate policies to make sure they're protecting their customers and strive to be transparent. Now, let's turn to Facebook. And obviously, everyone's still talking about the controversy. They collect so much information about us, and we're often giving it away. But right now, there is an easy way for you to download everything they know about you and even delete it. We are going to walk through this right now, step by step. I have my phone out. I want you to pull your phones out at home as well. Let's do it together. First of all, let's talk about what Facebook acknowledges they collect about you, starting right here with active sessions. That includes your IP addresses, which is location information, dates and times associated with every time you log in. Also, credit card numbers, your family, the last location you were in, your political views, photos and videos, and also your searches. Now I want to show you how you can download everything Facebook knows about you. There's a way to do it. Okay, so you know how we do it. Here's my iPhone right here. We have it mirrored up on the wall. You can actually access this information by going to the website. We're going to put it on the bottom of your screen, facebook.com/settings. You have to go to this website. As of today, there is no way to do it through the Facebook app. So go to that website right there. Okay, at the bottom, we go here, facebook.com/settings. You're going to see this page right here, and right over here it says download a copy of your Facebook data. So I'm going to click on that. Come on. Then you're going to get this, okay? Download your information. See this little green box here? It says download archive. You're going to hit download archive, and then this is going to pop up. This little box with your name, it wants you to type in your password to make sure it's you. No, I'm not going to type in my password on live network television, but you'll do that, and then Facebook, within about 15 minutes, I did it yesterday, within 15 minutes, is going to send you everything you need to know about yourself and everything they know. You're going to get lots of files. Now, I was pretty surprised by what I found when I got my files yesterday. Let's pull it up right here. It was pretty shocking. I was able to find my personal chats dating back years, not just who I did it with, but the actual chats themselves. Friends I deleted. Sorry, Craig. No, I'm kidding. You're still on my phone. Friends I deleted. Events I attended over the years. Even photos and videos of my kids from years ago that I actually even forgot that I had. Facebook still has it. And this one really upset me. Facebook has my contact list with phone numbers. That's right. Somehow Facebook has information about everybody in my phone and their numbers. Now, you want to know how to delete this information. Here's how you do it. And this one can be done through the Facebook app. So we go back to my phone here. We have it back in the screen. Right to the Facebook app over here. We're going to hit that. In the bottom right, you see that little, they call it the hamburger button. Looks like a little hamburger. Not as delicious. Click on that. Scroll over here to settings. You guys doing this, by the way?
I'm trying, but I'm confused.
All right.
I'm watching you do it later.
It'll be on today.com/Rossum reports after.
I'm on Macy's.com.
Okay. Yes. So come over here to after settings. You're going to come to activity log, right? Activity log. Up here, it's going to give you the choice where you can choose whatever year you want. Okay. And look at this. It goes all the way back to when you started Facebook. I joined in 2008, apparently. So I have it all the way there. So you can go into any post, anything they have from any year. I chose 2016. Then you can choose whatever category you want. When you drop down that, posts you're tagged in. Photos and videos, photos you're tagged in. I'm going to choose posts to start deleting stuff, right? You're going to get a whole list here as soon as it logs in. Come on, baby. Oh, no posts. Hold on a minute. Whoopsies. There we go. Posts from, let's try another year. Okay, there we go. Here are a bunch of posts from, okay, well, my thing is not working.
We've heard that.
Come on, baby. You'll click on it. There's a little arrow, and you can actually remove everything piece by piece. But here's the thing. Even when you do that, and it will get off the Facebook servers, it takes 90 days to get off the Facebook server, even when you remove it. But that should work. It's been working all morning. Wow. And we do have the step-by-step instructions, today.com/Rossum reports. And guys, we spoke with Facebook. The news out this morning from Facebook is that they are going to make this easier in the coming weeks. They're rolling out some new technology so you can do all this through the app.
They should. Wow, that's fascinating.
It was.
It also just begs the question, why?
Yeah.
Why do they have our contact?
Because they can.
Yeah, I know.
But also, why now?
Right.
Now
Why now?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, since that was aired, Facebook has implemented a number of things so you can do more stuff through the Facebook app on your smartphones and what have you. And they're going to have a challenge with this next thing we're coming up to. How many of you have heard of GDPR? A few of you? Yeah. It's the European Union law. It stands for General Data Protection Regulation. It's a sweeping law, massive. It gives European citizens more control over their personal data. It clarifies the rules on what companies can do or not do with your data. It clarifies the responsibilities of organizations, of the Facebooks and Googles and Amazons of the world, and even much lesser web properties than that, on what they can do and what they have to do to control and process your information. And this is the really interesting part. It applies to non-European Union companies so long as those companies service European Union residents. So Google, Facebook, Amazon, they all have customers from all over the world. So those big multinational companies are going to have to abide by this wonderful GDPR regulation, not just for European customers. I'm sure they're not going to want to have two versions of their website, one that applies to US laws and another one that does the EU laws. So that's what's going on. And the fines and penalties are really stiff. So I've got a short video that explains it better than I can here. So here goes.
As the economy becomes increasingly digitized, many companies hold highly sensitive customer personal information. They also obtain information from various sources to study customer behavior. Data is associated with significant risk if it's stolen and abused. Therefore, General Data Protection Regulation was introduced to specify how customer data should be used and protected. GDPR was officially adopted by the European Parliament in April 2016. Following a 2-year post-adoption period, it will become enforceable in May 2018. It applies to everyone involved in the processing of data about individuals in the context of selling goods and services to citizens in the EU, regardless of whether the organization is located within the EU. GDPR's major requirements include 7 areas. First, consent. In obtaining consent for data use, companies cannot use indecipherable terms and conditions filled with legalese. Also, it must be as easy to withdraw consent as it is to give it.
I'm going to pause this right here. How many of you have seen a consent form where the agree is in a big green box and the no thanks is in 9-point font down in the far corner? That's what it's talking about. It has to now be as easy to decline as it is to accept.
Breach notification. In the event of a data breach, data processors have to notify their controllers and customers of any risk within 72 hours. Right to access. Data subjects have the right to obtain confirmation from data controller of whether their personal data are being processed. Data controller should provide an electronic copy of personal data for free to data subjects. Right to be forgotten. When data is no longer relevant to its original purpose, data subjects can have the data controller erase their personal data and cease its dissemination. Data portability. This allows individuals to obtain and reuse their personal data for their own purposes by transferring it across different IT environments. Privacy by design. This calls for inclusion of data protection from the onset of designing systems, implementing appropriate technical and infrastructural measures. Data protection officers. Professionally qualified officers must be appointed in all public authorities or organizations that engage in large-scale, that is more than 250 employees, systematic monitoring or processing of sensitive personal data. Organizations can be fined up to 4% of annual global turnover or 20 million euros, whichever one is greater.
Did you catch that? 20 million euro, that's $24 million. Or 4% of their global turnover. Think about the total cash flow of Amazon or Apple or Google, you pick it. They can be fined up to 4%. That's oftentimes their entire profit margin for the entire corporation. So the penalties here are really stiff.
GDPR to date is seen as the strictest data security framework in the world. For businesses, GDPR poses more restrictions on what they can do with data to extract commercial benefits. Operational process and data structural changes can cost millions of pounds on compliance spending. At the same time, implementing GDPR strengthens customer trust, as the reputational risk associated with data security breach is very costly. In the long term, GDPR is a necessary step to legally safeguard data security rights in this digitized world.
Okay, so I'm wondering what Facebook and Google and Amazon and so forth are going to do in light of GDPR. It's going to be an interesting. It takes effect May 25th of this year. So it's coming up in not too long. And so it really gives people, us mere mortal internet users, some control over how our data is used, and it puts requirements on those data processors to have security protocols in place, to have security officers, professionally qualified security officers, in their organization to dictate how they have to do things, or they're going to get fined big time. So that's interesting times ahead for us. How many of you just use the regular Google search page to search for stuff on the internet? Do you know that Google tracks every search that you do through them, and that's how they get their data in order to provide ads to you? They don't sell your data. They're not like Facebook, where Facebook's data was sold to Cambridge Analytics. But Google does anonymize your data and then use it to display ads that companies ask them to display. It's not like Google is giving the other companies your data, but companies ask to have their ads put in front of your eyeballs. And Google, by tracking what you search for, starts to gain an understanding of what you're interested in, what you're not interested in possibly, and make use of that. And it's proven to be a very effective method of making money. There's lots of companies that want to get their information in front of your eyeballs. And Google and Facebook are two of the most prominent ways of doing that. What can you do? DuckDuckGo. You can see the URL up there, start.duckduckgo.com. It's a search engine that does not track you. And so whatever you search for, Google will not know about it. You'll get all the same responses because the DuckDuckGo search engine uses Google and Yahoo and several other back-end data sources to develop their results for you. But I use DuckDuckGo as my start.duckduckgo.com as my default start page on my web browser. So I can just go right to it and do whatever searching I want. I've also got it, as you notice up there, the 1, 2, 3, the fourth bookmark from the left in the bookmarks bar, DuckDuckGo bookmark. I can just go to it immediately. I never use Google anymore for that very reason. Additionally, I'm going to take advantage of having this up. You see this red circle up here that's circling two browser toolbar icons. They're icons for browser extensions. In this case, they're for a thing called the uBlock Origin. I don't know what it stands for. I didn't name it. That's what it is. It's a very good ad blocker. And in fact, it does more than block ads. It blocks malicious activity as well. And it's, once again, highly recommended by quite a number of security experts. And so the way you do it is the way you install it is you go to this little three-dot menu here, the options menu of Chrome. Firefox will have, I think, 3 bars up here, but it's in the same place. It's an options menu. You click on that and you go down to Tools and you go to Extensions. Then once you're in the Extensions page, you can search for more extensions and just type in uBlock or uBlock Origin and install those browser extensions into your web browser. Highly recommend you do. Any questions about that? The other one is called uBlock Origin Extras. I have no idea why. I don't write the code, but it's recommended to do both. So when you do the search for uBlock Origin, in the result page that comes up, you'll see both. Install them both. Okay? Enough of that. So let's go on to the next one here. How many, by show of hands, are familiar with incognito browsing or private browsing? For those of you that don't, it's a mode you can put your web browser in that kind of puts everything that you're doing into a container. And it doesn't provide any information about you to the website you're visiting. If you're in the Chrome browser incognito mode, or Firefox private window mode. So any cookies that you have in your system or whatever aren't there. It's like you're visiting a website for the very first time. So if you were to log in, if you were to open up a incognito window in Chrome and go to Amazon, it won't automatically log into your account. It'll look like this is the first time that you ever visited Amazon. And and Amazon is another company that gathers information about you, about what you've searched for in the past, to send you email ads based on things that you've searched for in the past. So if you want to opt out of that, just use incognito or private mode. By the way you get to those is you click on the options menu up here and just select new incognito window in the Chrome browser. In the Firefox browser, you click on the hamburger menu, options menu, in the upper right-hand corner, and select new private window. I wish they'd agree on the same terminology, but they don't, so I guess we have to live with it. So that's the way you open a window in these incognito modes. And it'll show you a little bit different titling at the top of that browser window, so that you have a visual cue that yes, you are indeed in an incognito mode or private mode. Okay? And I just wanted to take a moment to give an example of using the LastPass secure notes feature. I wanted to highlight how up here you can attach documents. For example, let's say your homeowner's insurance policy is 20 pages long, but most of it is boilerplate. The insurance company can provide that, but the first 2 or 3 pages have information about your policy number, your name, the limits, what have you. Okay? And so if you have a scanner, if you have a printer that has a scanner on it, you can scan it to a PDF file. If you don't have that, just take a photo of it with your camera. So you get 3 JPEG files. Attach them to this secure note. That way your personal representative can see that information. It's in your vault, encrypted, and off you go. So with the resolution that we have in our smartphone cameras these days, or regular cameras, the resolution is so good it's almost better than a document scanner that go at 300 dots per inch or 600 dots per inch. And last, we have the low-tech, but still very viable. There's almost always some paper documents that you want to have at home. Or if you don't keep them at home, a bank safe deposit box, you name it. These can be had for anywhere between $50 and $100. More expensive, the bigger you get, the heavier they get. The key thing to look for is that they can withstand a fire of 1,550 degrees for 30 minutes. Yes, you say, well, a home fire can last longer than that. True, but they're not often at that high a temperature. So if you have important documents, passports, birth certificates or whatever, that you want to keep at home, but also don't want to have burned up in a fire, get a fireproof safe. Yeah, they're probably 50 pounds or so, but they are luggable, so you can put it wherever you want. And in the event of a fire, you'll probably find it in the basement, but the paperwork inside will be intact. And with that, the end. Now, we've gone long, longer than I expected, actually, so I apologize for that. Does anybody feel an urgent need for a break, or should we just press on for 10 or 15 minutes? I'm seeing heads nodding vertically, so we'll do that. Rachel is my wonderful loyal assistant here that's going to be passing the microphone around. If you have questions, raise your hand and Rachel will come to you as soon as she can.
I've downloaded an app called Spyware, and it monitors my computer whenever I tell it to, and it gets rid of a bunch of cookies and other items. Are you aware of that one?
Oh, I'm familiar with that category of stuff. For the most, are you talking about On your smartphone?
Laptop.
On your laptop? Windows or PC?
Windows.
Windows? Are you talking about SpyBot Search and Destroy?
Not that.
Or,
Super spyware, I think, is what.
okay, there's a bunch of them around. That's not one that's commonly reported in the trade press, and it's not one that I'm familiar with. In this day and age, believe it or not, the Windows Defender app has really come up in the rankings, and is considered to be quite good, and it's free. It's part of Windows. It's getting updated regularly with antivirus, anti-malware definitions 3 or 4 times a day. And usually that's good enough. The problem with some of these other apps is they contain advertising buried in them. So it's buyer beware. If you're interested in that particular one, I'd recommend you search for user reviews and expert reviews on that particular one. I know PC Magazine does reviews and rankings of spyware apps, anti-malware apps. I mean, the big ones are Norton and Symantec and McAfee.
Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes.
Malwarebytes, yep, that's a real good one. Although Malwarebytes isn't noted to be a good real-time defense. It's excellent at scanning your machine after the fact. Another really good one is WebRoot Secure Anywhere. Very small impact on your PC, so it doesn't bog your PC down. Very small footprint, but is rated very highly in its ability of detecting and protecting against malware. But there again, you're going to be paying $50 to $70 a year for those products. And you weigh that versus Windows Defender, which is free and good enough. The question is, what about if you're on an Apple product? If you're on a MacBook or something like that, or not Mac, any of the Mac OS products, if you listen to the Apple ads, they say, we're immune. But don't believe it, they're software, they can be hacked. And so these same products that I've just mentioned here are also available for the Macs. When you go to their websites, it'll say download for Windows, download for Mac. And so yes, indeed, you can use them. Sometimes you may question the need for it, especially if you use the Quad 9 DNS to protect you in that way. So what you're looking for is multiple layers of security, not just one thing. Make sure that you have your settings so that when you log in, you're not running in a full administrator mode, either on Macs or Windows. By the way, if you're on a Windows machine, never run with full administrator privileges. Reserve that just for installing software and making changes to your system. When you're not doing that, get back into regular user mode because you have more protections. Same goes for Mac.
As retirees, we're allowed to use a WISC VPN, right?
Right.
Is that as good as the other VPNs?
There are 2 uses of a VPN. One is to permit you to connect to a network with an encrypted tunnel and make your device out somewhere on the internet, somewhere in the world, appear as if it was a device locally on, in this case, the campus network. So you have access to the library and other resources on campus. Because those resources, the library and other things, are programmed that if you're visiting those websites from a non-campus address, you get an entirely different experience or no experience at all. So by connecting to the VPN, WISC VPN, you do get access to those campus resources. By doing that, you, depending on whether or not they've changed their policies, I don't know, I haven't used WISC VPN in a long time, you can go through the campus to get back out to the internet. And I'm getting a nod, yes. So that would be an alternative to private internet access or any of the other dozen or so VPN services around. The difference being that with private internet access, you have a variety of servers you can connect to around the world. So if it's your desire to portray yourself as coming from a different location, if you don't want to watch European soccer, you could not do that through a WISP VPN. But you can by logging into the European server for private internet access. So that's the difference. Fair enough? Questions? There was a hand over here.
Please talk about the use of LastPass on a public computer in our internet cafe. How do you sign on to it? How does it know?
Well, what you would need to do is to install the LastPass extension into the browser instance on that public PC. And so it's probably not something you would do. Because after installing it, the first thing you have to do is to log on with your username and master password, which enables the decryption of information out of and into your LastPass vault. So, quite frankly, I wouldn't recommend you do it from a public device. Well, I guess the one thing you could do would be to do the following. Open up an incognito window, install the browser extension, log in, do your stuff, all from within the incognito window, and as soon as you close that incognito window, everything gets flushed. That would be safe. Make sense?
What if you purchase another computer? Suppose your computer is getting old and you want to get a new one, and you've got all these devices and protections loaded onto your current computer. How do you transfer that?
You just reinstall. You download the LastPass extension. Takes 10 seconds. Log in with your email address and master password, and you're off and running. Just that fast. Similar for the private internet access VPN. You download the PIA app, log in with your username and password, which you can store in the LastPass vault, and boom, you're running with a VPN. So having LastPass as your password manager makes transferring to a different computer pretty easy. The main thing is you have to re-download. You can't just copy a file off to a thumb drive and take it over to your new device and copy them back in and you're off and running. You do have to go through the formal installation process. Okay?
What do you think of the Experian offer on television to do a scan for your identifying information on the dark web?
Remember there was a thing on the LastPass vault that talked about security challenge. That's doing exactly the same thing, but you're not relying on Experian to do it, you're relying on LastPass, which is much more reliable. So that security challenges searches all the dark web. I mean, they update it, I think, daily. They go out and get information from the dark web on all this stuff, create a master database of it. So when you run a security challenge, it immediately can index or search for your username, your email address or whatever the username is, and search for a password. And whatever it finds your username, it'll show you all that and tell you whether or not you got a problem. So that security challenge is really a good thing to have. And it also will tell you if you got weak passwords. Okay? Question back there.
If you use LastPass, does that require that you always use the same email and the same browser?
Well, your sign-on name is your email name, or whatever email name you used at the time. Even if you were, let's say your email address was abc@gmail.com, all right? And that's what you used for your LastPass account sign-in name. And then subsequently you deleted that abc@gmail.com account. It would probably still continue to work within LastPass to use abc@gmail.com as your sign-in name, although they do occasionally send you emails and stuff about security threats and what have you. So I think you would probably be wise if you change your email provider to some other email server, then you would be better off to change your email address within LastPass and sign in with the new username.
So, but if you use multiple emails with different accounts, does that work with LastPass?
Oh yeah, yeah. The email is just your sign-on to the LastPass, into your LastPass vault. You can use any number of email services behind the scenes. What you use to sign in to LastPass does not in any way interfere with your using a dozen different email services if you so choose. It's simply the way of authenticating your access to your vault and enabling them to communicate with you when necessary. Okay?
Do you have any comments on Kaspersky and Sophos, which are foreign antivirus things? Are they okay? Or?
I've heard a lot of people talk about Kaspersky being a Russian company and possibly being infected with Russian malware deep inside of Kaspersky, and the U.S. government banning its presence on government-owned computers and so forth. Everything I've heard says that they're fine, but do you need to use it? No. And if you have other equally good alternatives, like Windows Defender for free, or WebRoot Secure Anywhere, or Norton, or McAfee, use those instead. There's a person up on the balcony. Rachel, I'll repeat his question. Go ahead. The question is, do you really need to create bookmarks in incognito mode? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on if you're a 100% incognito user, it could be an issue, but it's real easy to open up a regular window and do your bookmark. So, good question.
Since I've never used a password keeper, I'm just wondering, they use the example of Amazon as their first thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to go to Amazon to buy something, do you have to go into LastPass and go to Amazon?
You
or
can
it
just
knows
go to www.amazon.com or whatever URL you use, and then it'll immediately pick out, when you go to the login screen for Amazon, it'll detect that, and then it'll pop up. So it makes navigating almost seamless. It's very good.
These virtual credit card numbers, they said if you had your normal credit card number compromised, you can still use the virtual ones.
Correct.
How do those get tied? Because now you'll get a new credit card.
The way it works is your account with Capital One or B of A or Citi or something has an account number that's not your credit card number. So when you go in and contact them and say, my credit card was stolen, deactivate it please and send me a new one, you notice that they don't suddenly lose all your transactions. They just show transactions for the old credit card number in the month that it happened, and then the transactions against the new credit card number. So the same happens here. So when you have a bunch of virtual credit card numbers, those continue to work, and if you have to replace your real credit card, it just shows in that month you'll show the transactions against the old and the transactions against the new, and then the following one it'll be only the new. So it's not that your physical credit card number is the only account code by which they can identify you. Okay?
Can I use the space bar in establishing a strong password?
Usually not. It varies by website. Some websites will tell you you can use punctuation. Some will not allow punctuation. Some will only allow certain keystrokes of punctuation. They may allow period, colon, or no, not colon. They may allow period, dollar sign, parentheses, ampersand, but they won't allow a colon. They won't allow double quotes. There's a number of things that they'll block. And so that's why on the LastPass password generator, if you click on the More Options button, it'll let you turn on and off which characters you wanted to use in generating your complex long password. Sure. The question is PayPal safe? And yes, they wouldn't be in business if they were not safe. And I think PayPal is now in the business of issuing credit cards themselves and becoming a bank themselves. So, yeah, they're trying to get into it more and more as an actual bank rather than just an offshoot from eBay. But yeah, it's a safe mechanism. I know sometimes using PayPal can be a pain in the butt, but they're trying to get better at it, I think.
How do you get Windows Defender? Is it, I think I saw it once in my computer, and now it's gone. And also, can you have too much protective software? Like I have malware, bytes, and Avast, and spyware.
You only want one anti-malware product active on your machine at a time, other than malware bytes. Malware bytes in its default mode is a scan-only anti-malware. It doesn't do real time. You can buy the version of malware bytes that does real time, and in that mode you couldn't have any other anti-malware on your Windows PC other than malware bytes in the real-time protection mode. But for most other things, whether it's Norton or Symantec or McAfee or WebRoot or you pick it, you can only have one of those active at a time. If you have two active at a time, they're going to go to battle with each other over who's in control, and your machine will soon become almost unusable. Fortunately, Windows Defender is smart enough to recognize if some other anti-malware product is installed in your machine. If it is, it'll shut down and gracefully say, all yours. And if you want to get Windows Defender back on your machine, if it's Windows 7 or above, all you do is you remove those other anti-malware products, and Windows Defender should come up and say, there's nothing here, I'll go back to active mode. That's probably why you can't see it, because you got malware bytes or some of the things installed on your PC. Okay?
I originally got Symantec through the university, but then some time ago they stopped
updating it,
endorsing it, but it stayed on my computer.
Right.
But now, when I upgraded to the new operating system, it doesn't work on that. But I'm not able to delete Symantec. Do you know how you get rid of it?
Yeah, you have to go online, do a DuckDuckGo search or Google search for manual removal of Symantec antivirus. That if you may have to go through a bunch of pages to find the right one, but you will find a Symantec page that walks you through the detailed step-by-step instructions, including editing the registry and which files to delete and when to reboot your machine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in order to manually remove Symantec from your computer. And it is a documented process. You might be able to find a YouTube video that walks you through it too, but I'd recommend getting a printout of the Symantec's web page. I think they also have some removal apps you can download from the Symantec website that will automate that process for you. It'll eradicate Symantec from your machine. I've heard reports that some of those have not worked in certain environments, but by and large, I would suggest running those and then going to the manual process to make sure everything is eradicated. Okay? The hook is coming out. Thank you all for coming.
Every time I hear Orb speak, I wonder, would he go on retainer? I just need all kinds of information that he has. As a small token of appreciation for your work, this is a little something from the Retirement Association.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thanks very much. Have a good day, everyone.